I'm not sure which is worse. The fact that the term cyberviolence exists, or the fact that people actually take it seriously, as if it's a real thing. And I would think that many of the people taking this seriously are the same people who have never taken a hit to the face at all, whether now or in their childhood. And many more of these people are millennials, born of the self-esteem movement, who've been taught to feel good about themselves, doing nothing at all. And so I'm sure that when somebody comes in and says something mean to them on the internet, it's the worst thing ever. And I really wish that any one of these things, whether it's the whole millennial culture, the self-esteem movement, or or having never taken a real hit to the face in your entire life, whether it's any one of those things, I wish that they were enough to account for the sheer amount of stupidity that I witnessed in the Stop Violence Against Women hashtag. Now, if you didn't know, this whole kerfuffle started with a woman by the name of Clementine Ford, who is an Australian writer of sorts and a self-described feminist killjoy. And now Miss Ford, who is a writer, she one day checked her Facebook feed and was surprised that some man called her a slut. Now, instead of shrugging it off like a normal person, Miss Ford proceeded to get this man fired from his job, which prompted other women to decide to enter a super secret Facebook group to make a blacklist of sorts, to out other men that they deem to be engaging in the very serious crime of cyberviolence. And after engaging with some of these feminists, I can say that these women are every bit as stupid as you'd think. And they are the last folks you want deciding whether or not you've done your best to be a nice guy on the internet. And whether or not you need to be treated the same way that we treat men who physically hurt people in real life and engage in real verbal harassment. And the arguments pretty much came down to, you're a woman, why aren't you fighting for your team? And cyberviolence is the same as actual violence, and cyberviolence leads to actual violence, which they have no proof for, to even suggest. And also that social media, which has given men and women the equal ability to block people, simply isn't doing enough. They're not doing enough. And they want a service which they don't pay for at all, to be their mommy and to protect them from all the mean people online. And you might say, oh, but Rachel, what about death threats? Well, what about them? Really, if somebody wanted to hurt you, they wouldn't give you a head start by telling you that they're coming over. At least now you know you can pop some popcorn or prepare something for them. Put the kettle on, something. So that when somebody comes over with their knife and saying, I'm gonna rape you and your mom, you're prepared. And the police can meet them halfway. But but in my opinion, no. Social media shouldn't go out of its way to protect the weak-willed and the easily offended. And no one can make you feel safe online but you. No amount of control could ever make these women feel safe. And I find this funny, because right now there are people in other countries who actually don't feel safe, and for good reason. Because people are dropping bombs on their houses and shooting up their neighborhoods. And these women have the fucking audacity to compare mean words said on the internet by trolls to real violence. They have the gall to say that they don't feel safe in some of the safest countries on the planet. And if the biggest problem in your life is someone being mean to you on the internet, and that makes you feel unsafe, well, I'm sorry, but I don't know what to tell you. Other than the fact that I hope the Syrian refugees do come here. And I never thought I'd find myself saying that. I do hope that they come here and that they do learn the language and integrate into our culture, so that they can tell you what spoiled, entitled fucks that you are. I really do. Because if you can't feel safe in one of the safest countries on the planet, then there's no way that anyone can do anything to make you ever feel safe.